يا راغبا في كل علم نافع.
ينمو العلم ويتقدم بتقنياته ومجالاته، ومعه نطور أدواتنا في تقديم العلم الشرعي. أكاديمية زاد.
زاد أكاديمية ينبوعها صاف ليروي غلة الظمآن. هذه عقيدتنا الصحيحة فطرة تنفي الشكوك بواضح البرهان. بشرى لنا زاد أكاديمية للعلم كالأزهار في البستان.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Islamic Creed Level 1 and understanding the rububiyyah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and how the heart should be established upon this, and the belief in that this is an essential, of course. But one of the things that we need to also establish in the belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the evidence when it comes to the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from other than what's mentioned in the Shara'. And this is a subject really that brings the shyness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the heart. For someone to question the existence of the one that is the creator of the heavens and the earth, this is by itself is an insane thing. Someone with the least amount of senses and means of intellect would never deny the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because this is a matter of necessity. It's by necessity that a person would believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and whoever disbelieves in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the existence of Allah, they are either insane or they are stubborn and they're not really following the truth. But it's a subject that comes in place as a result of those who are present and they deny these things. So it's important, of course, to expose these matters and to make it very clear. So when a person talks to atheists and things like this, and also quoting to them verses of the Quran, they would say we don't listen even to the Quran, even though that the verses of the Quran has in itself the evidence reason-wise against them. And if the meanings of what's in the Quran is being presented to them, this is how it would have the effect by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But there are also all kinds of evidences, one of which is the evidence that as a result of one's fitrah, one's innate, which is the strongest of all. We have the fitrah evidences, the reason, one's reason, one's intellect, and the physical ability and senses and so on. When it comes to the fitrah, the pure nature that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us, we are created by that inside of us, that we believe in the creator of the heavens and the earth without analyzing the matter, without having to seek evidences. It's already installed in us. So whoever goes against this, he's going against how is he created. If people are created, if people are in the jungle or in the desert somewhere, they've not been affected by anything, only one person say, and he's raised alone like this in the desert, and no one else he ever met in his life, he would be raised to believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator of the heavens and the earth. This is inside of every single human being. So a person would say, so why the messengers have been sent? The messengers are sent to call people to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. That's why you would find in the deep places of jungles and so on, people are worshipping idols, because the shayateen, as we heard in the hadith, they have in their fitrah the belief in the creator of the heavens and the earth. And the shayateen, they come and divert them away by believing in idols and images that would get them closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you see that clearly with your own self. I remember myself seeing some of these people in some of the jungles of Africa, where you ask them, when you are in dire need, they are idol worshippers. When you are in dire need, what do? They said, we get on our knees and we ask from the one in the heavens. This is exactly what they've said. So it's in the heart of the human beings. It's the pure nature of the human beings. كل مولود يولد على الفطرة. Every single person born is born on the fitra, the pure, the innate, the pure nature. فأبواه يهودانه أو ينصرانه أو يمجسانه. Their parents, they make him Jew or Christians or whatever religions. This is how they shape their hearts and change them. And as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَأَقِمْ وَجْهَكَ لِلدِّينِ حَنِيفًا فِطْرَةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي فَطَرَ النَّاسَ عَلَيْهَا. Make your face upright to this religion of Islam, the upright religion away from shirk. فِطْرَةَ Allah, the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He created the human beings without any change in the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the deen of Allah. And if someone is, again, this case of someone that has not been affected by anything of his society or where he's born, if that individual is presented to him the religion of Islam versus all kinds of false religions, he would definitely see that the truth is in the religion of Islam. The one that created the heavens and the earth, worship Him alone. So having that belief is by necessity in the heart. Like a person does not need to, you don't need to prove to someone that half is less than one. So, and the same thing is when one of these evidences, if someone is in dire need, he would find himself turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned about the disbelievers, وَإِذَا مَسَّكُمُ الضُّرُّ فِي الْبَحْرِ ضَلَّ مَنْ تَدْعُونَ إِلَّا إِيَّهُ فَلَمَّا نَجَّاكُمْ إِلَى الْبَرِّ أَعْرَضْتُمْ وَكَانَ الْإِنسَانُ كَفُورًا. If harm touches you in the sea or so, all of the ones that you invoke besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they're lost. And you would turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. And if someone in the plane and it's falling down, they all mention the name of Allah. Comes out from their innate, because it's in their system, in their body, in their pure nature. So this is the evidence of al-fitra, or the evidence of the pure nature that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us with. And it's such a powerful thing that nobody can ever push it. People, they are in denial sometimes, or they're arrogantly arguing. But you would find this is by necessity. Human beings, they have this in them. They want to turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what make them not do that at times of ease is because of the intoxications. This life intoxicate them. They're busy with fulfilling their desires. They're not thinking. And when a person is in dire need, this is where what's in the fitrah, the pure fitrah, comes in place. And that's why many people today, they don't think. Or their thinking is only limited to their worldly matters, how to eat and how to drink and how to have fun and how to excel in materialistic things. That's not the thinking that makes the human beings unique. Animals, they think also for their own benefits like this. But what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the human beings, from the ability to think and to have intellect and to look at the meaning of life and what's the purpose of it and where did we come from and what's after this life, and you would find these answers in the deen of Islam. And to go back to your pure nature, not with these contaminations of all kinds of things that surrounds them, as the Prophet ﷺ said, but the pure nature that makes all of the human beings the same. And this is what the fitrah is. If you think of all of the human beings with their differences and their arrogance versus not, or whatever, different cultures, different understanding, if you bring them all in one place and you ask them that they all go back to their pure nature, the essence of the human beings that makes them all understand the universal understanding of all of them. Something like everyone would understand what does it mean to be just, even if they would apply differently, but they all understand this. Or if they laugh, they all understand what laughing is. Something that is universal like this. So if they all get together for that purpose, one of the most important and the thing that they cannot push away from themselves is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator of the heavens and the earth, because they were not created from nothing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that created them. They did not create themselves, as it's going to be mentioned. أَمْ خُلِقُوا مِنْ غَيْرِ شَيْءٍ أَمْ هُمُ الْخَالِقُونَ. Are they created from nothing, or are they the creators? So they did not. Nothing does not create, and at the same time, they did not create themselves. So this fitrah, this pure nature that a person have in himself, that he turns to Allah, and the need. But then when people see false religions, it does not fulfill the need that they have, and manipulations of those who are in charge of matters of religion, so they turn them away. But in the deen of Islam and the power that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave and made for this religion, in which it's a relationship between the person and his creator subhanahu wa ta'ala, then a person goes back to his pure nature and he would see this power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the power of al-fitra. So this fitra makes the belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a matter of necessity. Necessity, that means not everything that you have to find an evidence for its existence, right? As mentioned again, something that is very obvious, something that you don't have to think about it. As we said, if something is less than one, half is less than one. You don't have to prove this. This is very obvious. And this is how things are. The al-ba'ra tadullu al-ba'id, and we talked about that in other classes, where if you walk in the desert and you see, and this is from the intellectual meanings also and evidences, but a person sees dropping of an animal, that's by itself, what's the fitra of every single human being will be upon? That means there's an animal passed by in this place. So this is how things are, and this is how the fitra, the pure nature that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the human beings without them distorting this fitra that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created them with. We continue inshallah ta'ala with more of these evidences. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka ala Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
يا راغبا في كل علم نافع
ينمو العلم ويتقدم بتقنياته ومجالاته، ومعه نطور أدواتنا في تقديم العلم الشرعي. أكاديمية
زاد أكاديمية ينبوعها صاف ليروي غلة الظمآن. هذه عقيدتنا الصحيحة فطرة تنفي الشكوك بواضح البرهان. بشرى لنا زاد أكاديمية للعلم كالأزهار في البستان.